Hi, my name is Ezekiel Kelly, and I'm the VP of Engagement and Growth here at FITSE, Frederick's Innovative and Technology Center. Over the last 20 years, FITSE has been focused on one mission, helping entrepreneurs realize their ideas and make a positive impact locally and globally. For the last decade, that mission has been strengthened under the leadership of our CEO, Kathy Callahan Brady, who has been deeply committed to supporting Maryland founders within the life sciences and tech industries. We've learned what works and what doesn't, and what critical pillars are needed for our founders to succeed. That's exactly why we launched the Clinical Bridge. The Clinical Bridge is a resource built to help founders avoid costly mistakes earlier in their journey. By leveraging the collective experience and insights of trusted collaborators, the Clinical Bridge helps de-risk each stage of the journey, accelerate time to trial, and ultimately move companies faster toward the global market. And this is only possible in collaboration with partners like ProNav, Sinatra, InfoPathways, Court Squared, and many others, each bringing deep expertise across clinical trial operations, regulatory readiness, infrastructure, and technology. ProNav, who joined us through Maryland's Gateway program, has been an early supporter and partner. At its core, the Clinical Bridge was designed to solve a critical problem. Over 90% of drug candidates never make it to market. And often it's not because of the science, it's because of missteps, underdeveloped infrastructure, and the lack of the right partners at the right time. Our goal at FITSE is to change that, not just here in Frederick, Maryland, but for the entire DMV region. This is about FITSE being a regional solution, a place where early stage biotech and biopharma innovators across Maryland, DC, and Virginia can find a trusted ecosystem that walks with them every step of the way. The DMV is full of talent, from the NIH to the FDA to world-class universities and private innovators. The ideas are right here. But without coordinated support and a clear path forward, many of these ideas stall before they ever reach patients. And this is why the Clinical Bridge exists, to guide companies onto the path to clinical trials and ultimately toward their true goal, commercialization that serves patients on a global scale. Whether it's through AI-supported clinical operations, secure IT systems, or expert design of early phase trials, the Clinical Bridge offers real, actionable support, not just theory. And because we've all seen the heartbreak of promising science that never makes it to the finishing line, we believe founders deserve more than just access to space or mentorship. They deserve a team. And this initiative reflects what FITSE has always stood for, helping entrepreneurs thrive with the right people, the right guidance, and the right environment to grow. We are building this bridge together, not just to clinical trials, but to a future where innovation meets execution and ultimately meets the needs of patients around the world. And this is what the Clinical Bridge is all about.
I'm Ezekiel, Vice President of Engagement and Growth for Frederick Innovative and Technology Center, here with Jim Kernan from ProNav, and we're here to talk about the Clinical Bridge and in a way launch the Clinical Bridge. It kind of stemmed out of really a need within the state of Maryland and probably a lot of other places for entrepreneurs that are just starting off, and specifically in biotech, and have a sort of a molecule or some kind of therapeutic that they want to get to market. And they kind of have a little bit of the idea of what the science looks like, but they don't know anything else. And they don't know where to go, they don't know who to talk to. And we're realizing through conversations with Jim that there's other companies who want to pitch in and want to help those companies succeed. So tell us a little bit about,
Sure, so the whole idea for this bridge started from a conversation between Ezekiel and myself in a conference room in FITSE about 10 months ago now. And we quickly recognized that there were other companies who have the same kind of knowledge of the industry that we have, but maybe in just different sectors of the process of getting from discovery to first in human. So one day, myself and Ezekiel came up with the idea of the Clinical Bridge, which we'd like to introduce to you here. And the Clinical Bridge is really a group of companies that can help emerging biotech and pharmatech find their way from discovery, an idea that they might have had at the very beginning, right through to first in human at this end of the bridge. And we have the companies here. There's 5 of them in the group at this moment in time. Starting with FITSE, with the incubator and wet lab service to help those guys and girls with the first stages of their molecule development. Then we go through to InfoPathways, which can help with the IT systems they need to have in those laboratories to connect the instruments, the HPLCs together, and make sure that they're GMP compliant as they do that. And then we have Sinantra, which is another Irish company, but also one that we are part of in ProNav, and it provides support in terms of helping companies to identify their CDMO, their contract manufacturing partners, and then do the due diligence on that function, and help the process qualification, equipment qualification, as the products start to move through manufacturing. And then we have Court Square, is another company very much focused on the data around the development of the drug and the preparation of clinical trial applications. They have an AI model that allows that to be done very, very efficiently, helping these young innovative companies answer questions that sometimes they mightn't even know. And that's really the key. We're here to help people see things that they mightn't actually know about and make their journey therefore much more efficient in the process. And then finally we have ProNav Clinical here, which is a global supply chain operations company based in Europe, in Ireland, and now also in the US. And we supply from the top of Finland to the toe of South America and indeed Australia. So everywhere in between, we do that supply of the clinical drug to the clinical trial sites around the globe. So between us, we have a tremendous amount of knowledge. And I think that's what we recognize, that we needed to share the knowledge.
And for us, it was the big thing that we want to do at FTSE is really to have everything that a company needs under one roof, or in one bridge, under one bridge. And for us, it was critical. I know Kathy envisioned all of these sort of acceleration partners, that can help companies get to that next stage, kind of all being at FTSE, and Jim didn't know it, but he was kind of the first one, along with Info Pathways, of course. So we're excited about the clinical bridge.
And we'd really love as many innocent biotech, pharma tech startup companies as there are in the whole state of Maryland and beyond, to just come. We'll share our knowledge free of charge.
Absolutely.
You're more than welcome. Just sit with us and we'll give you whatever guidance we can give you on your journey across the bridge.
So here with Keith and Court Square Group, and we're going to find out more about kind of how you guys are connected to the bridge, to the clinical bridge.
Great. Well, Jim had a great idea when I spoke with him about all the companies that we work with together, and over the years we've worked with a lot of different companies, and we all have a few things in common, is the fact that we like working for smaller companies that really need that kind of hand-holding and help to get over the hump of getting to somewhere. We've all worked with very large pharmaceutical companies. We understand the bureaucracy that goes on with some of those companies and things like that. But we also know that sometimes these smaller companies will have great ideas, but they just don't know how to get it over the finish line. What do we need to do to get here? Or they forget something, and all of a sudden it causes lots of problems later on. So a little knowledge goes a long way when you're dealing with those. For our case, we deal with the IT systems that they're going to deal with, compliance around IT and data integrity and data governance. And our goal is to work with companies that are starting out, they're gathering lots of data, they're doing stuff with that data, but they need to do something with it. We try to show them that as a company, if they start out and put some consistency in place right from the get-go, that it will save them a lot of time later on in rework. And that's something they just don't understand. The other thing that we think about is when they deal with much larger companies, because a lot of these small companies want to deal with a big partner. Those big partners want to know that those small companies have just as good a security and compliance around their data as they do. And if they don't do that, then they'll question some of the results they're going to come out with. They'll question the science that they have. So there's a lot of things that we do to help them to kind of show that they can work with these companies. Not to mention the fact that many times these smaller companies have a lot of external partners. They're going to be dealing with external lawyers to do contracts. They're going to be dealing with external scientists to help out with things, or a CDMO that's going to be doing some experimentation with them or work with them. What we do is we offer a system out that helps them to work with external partners as well as internal people within a company. So I think those are really important aspects of what we do from a clinical bridge perspective. We help them to bridge that startup mentality to where they're going to be able to scale as a company. Our goal is to help them set that up for success, to be there from an IT perspective, both with the compliance, data governance, and data integrity along the way, so that nobody will question any of the science that they're actually bringing to the table.
Yeah, and I know that's one of the things that founders aren't necessarily thinking about. I would imagine 90% of founders aren't thinking about data governance. They're just thinking about the science. So it's helpful to have someone like you in Court Squared along that bridge to help guide the founders.
100%. They're always thinking, a lot of them are thinking just, how do I stay alive?
Yeah.
How do I get my next round of funding to do what I'm doing and
Absolutely.
do this? How do I do that next test or experiment to make sure that it comes out right? So they're not thinking about the governance aspect. So one of the things that we try to teach people, and I think it's really about education. It's educating them on the value of putting those systems in place early rather than waiting later on and having to do a lot of rework. And then they can't find their data and they can't do a whole bunch of things with that. So I think that's a big part of what we try to help bring to the table for them.
Great. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Awesome. Thank you.
So I'm here with Laurent from Sinatra, and I kind of want to learn a little bit more about how you guys fit into the bridge and what companies can maybe look to you to find out about or maybe hear more.
So, we often encounter scientists. They're in a lab, they've developed a molecule, and they start looking, okay, what's next? And one of the questions they're going to have, and it's a critical one because it's going to annoy them for years, is who's going to manufacture that product for me? Who's going to test it? Who's going to make sure that my product meets all the quality requirements that are required to file an application or do clinical trials? So what we do is early on we engage with them. We look at their product and we help them put in place the supply chain. So we have a network of CDMOs and labs that we work with. We do a pre-selection. We do a request for proposal. We take the molecule. We just give it to these sites, and they come back. And then we do a selection. We do visits, and we help the company pick who's going to manufacture their product. Hopefully for the next, at least 5-10 years.
So you're like a matchmaker.
A little bit.
Yeah.
And then the fundamental problem that these people have is that very quickly they run out of money, and it's no longer like manufacturing is just a headache. What matters is fundraising, clinical development studies, clinical trials. But the manufacturing, the nuts and bolts really should not be on their radar, and it's not part of their skill set. So once we've established a supply chain, we can manage it for them.
Wow.
And then we have it ready to hand over to companies like ProNav, who will then take the product and make sure that it's dispatched to the right clinical trial with the right labeling for the right indication.
Got it. Okay. Yeah. Thank you. That was great. So I'm here with Orla, who's also with ProNav, and just kind of want to find out, what was your experience first coming to Maryland, coming to FITSI? How was that experience for you, and maybe why did you guys end up deciding to come here?
Yeah, it was great. It was from the moment as a smaller, more boutique supplier based in Ireland, coming from Ireland. The attention, the genuine interest that was received in us as a smaller company it just spoke to us immediately. The cultural fit was right, the people, the humor is the same. For us as a company from Ireland, that cultural fit aligning with our values
Absolutely.
and was really important to us. Never mind the business aspect of it, the people first.
Absolutely.
And at a human level, just FITSI was great, Kathy was great, yourself, amazing, Ezekiel. The help we've gotten, including building this bridge behind us here this morning, as of this morning. You went off to get the wood last night, getting that done in I think 2 days.
I know.
2 days.
So one of our FITSI clients built this actually.
It's just things get done. You're not knocking on a door for 6 weeks with no response. People are great, everyone's out to help, and couldn't be happier.
Awesome. Great. Thank you.
Solange from Frederick County Economic Development.
I'm Mary Fortnell with the City of Frederick Economic Development. Yeah, we're really excited about this, the launch of the clinical bridge and the impact it can have on the ecosystem here, not only in Frederick, but also in Maryland, and the benefit to our startup companies. It's exciting. And in Frederick, we're all about collaboration and partnership, so this is a great opportunity to do that.
Correct, and that's exactly what I was going to say, that it really speaks highly of the synergy and the ecosystem that we have in Frederick County, where companies can talk to each other and companies would thrive. And then not just that, but find resources like the clinical bridge that will help other companies get there, that will help companies thrive. And I think it's important for them to realize what they don't know, so they can come to the clinical bridge and really get the resources they need to grow and upscale their companies.
That's great. And I think, again, in economic development, which is what both Salash and I do, we're here to connect people with programs and resources. And this is a really good example of how that collaboration can help create efficiencies and make processes a lot more smoother, and reduction in cost, reduction in time, and just to improve the process, right?
Right. I completely agree.